I want to take you through my new favorite feature in Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is working with notebooks. If you haven't seen this, hopefully this will change your life as much as it has for me. I've been using this one for real at work. I will come back to that story in a little bit to help you understand the real value of this in the real world scenario. But first, what I'm going to do is take you through what it is, how to use it with some demo data that you can have a play with as well to get started. So I'm in Microsoft 365 Copilot. I have got my notebooks feature selected on the side, lovely welcome screen, and I start here with create a Copilot notebook. Now the concept here is that I can pull together documents for things that I'm doing at work. For this demo, I've just got some fairly basic Word documents, but you can bring in PowerPoints, Excel documents, all sorts of things. And when I did this for real, I put in about 10 different things that all had a lot of depth in there, and it was amazing. All right, let's give this one a name. So we're going to call this T-Chat. I've got some sample documents here that are related to a lovely kind of promotion around tea. So what you can do is search for things. If they're things you've used recently, they come up at the top of the list. But again, they might not be things you're like, oh, I worked on a project a while ago and I need to pull together all of that stuff I did and start to sort of think about it and ask questions about it. So let's just put in Contoso as a starting point. So I've got Contoso tea market trends. Let's search for tea, and I've also got the promotion plan and the product description in there, and then I can click create. So you can go through and add all of those things in there. And as I said, when I did this for real, I put about maybe 8 different documents in there that included slide decks that were very, very long, and proposal documents and actual things that had a lot of substance in them. You can change this at any time. So you can come back into this another time and add additional references in here, or you can remove anything that you decide isn't really relevant and is sort of disrupting the flow of it. Now, before we get into it, let's just take a look at this demo data. So we've got this market trends. So I've got some stuff in here about sort of how we're performing in terms of our social media stuff. I have got a product description, which talks about the blend and the aroma and the flavor. And it's cold where I am, and now I just want to go and have tea. Anyone else? I've got to stop doing demo data that makes me feel hungry. All right, and then we've got a promotion plan for chai tea in Latin America, which has a whole lot of stuff in there as well. So enough to show you the thing, but as I said, don't write this off as a party trick. There is a lot to it when you're working with your real data. So the first thing that we can do in here is come in and ask it a question, and what it's going to do is look at all of that information and refer to that when it's putting together the answer. So how's our social media performance for Q4? I've asked it something here that wasn't, I've got data in there for October, November, December. It understands Q4. It brings that information back to me. Also gives me some insights into what's going on. So that's pretty good. All right. What you can also do is actually ask it to help you do different tasks related to all of that. So you can either keep going with this conversation. I could get it to compare the performance, or the same behavior you use with any Copilot chat is to start a new conversation when it's a new topic. So what I've got in here is to say, I've got all this information here, help me with drafting taglines. So you can use this in a way that is very creative, or pulling together all of that information, which is this ideation, brainstorming kind of use case that's actually really nice. And now I feel, again, like I want tea. And the other thing is you can start to use it to say, well, what should we do? What are the key things that we should cover in this campaign strategy? And it's going to look at all of those things again and then ask follow-up questions. So for instance, you can ask it things about what's in the data, but we've got all of these things here are the key elements that we should cover, but you can also ask it for other things. So for instance, once it gets through that, I'm going to ask it, what data am I missing? Because it's able to sort of analyze and understand. The chat, incidentally, this is using the new Copilot chat experience, which is a lot more sophisticated and returning better results than Microsoft 365 Copilot chat was before this upgrade. So again, with all of these AI tools, I would always encourage you, go back, revisit, don't write off something that you didn't think was great in the meantime. So of course, as demo data, I'm missing so much stuff. It's giving me that good advice. So this is really useful. And I did say I would talk about my real world use case. So let's talk about that now. And then I'm going to come back and show you something else in here that's amazing. So for me, I had worked on a customer engagement where we'd done a proposal. We had done a lot of presentations. I'd done a lot of presentations with this customer. We had a whole lot of outputs. And this is actually something I'd done a little while ago, and I needed to come back and bring it together for a report. But it's not all kind of top of mind for me because I've worked on lots of other things. And the ability to use this to say, what did we cover? What were the key things we achieved? What did we do about this? What did we recommend about that? Was so easy to get to because it's doing it all with reference to the documents. And like I said, there were a lot of pieces in there. And the difference between this and, trying to do this some other way, this is all just securely there. It's connected up to everything that I'm doing. Same as the story with Microsoft 365 Copilot all over. Now, on that subject, we have a feature in here that's called Get Audio Overview. I'm going to click this button and let it run in the background while I explain it. If you've seen Notebook LM, you might be familiar with this, but if not, this is the concept. It's going to take all of this information that I've given it in the notebook and produce an audio podcast. Two people, AI voices, talking to each other, having a conversation about what's going on here. Not just a party trick. I will confess, when I first saw this and it hit the headlines with Notebook LM, I was like, okay, great, that's an interesting party trick. Why would I ever use this? I use this on my real data at work, and you'll see what will happen. It takes a couple of minutes to pull it together.
Hey there. Welcome to today's overview of Mystic Spice Premium Chai Tea. We're diving into what makes this blend so special.
Now, first thing I'm going to do is bump up the speed because it's too slow for me.
Hi, thanks for joining us. It's a great day to explore some fascinating data and insights.
Right, so we've got a lot to cover, from the intriguing monthly sales trends and product features to an exciting promotion strategy in Latin America, along with the rich cultural roots and great health benefits of chai.
Okay, now it seems a bit contrived. Yes, I think these AI voices probably have a little way to go, but you'll see what's happened there just as an intro is that it's positioned what it's talking about. It doesn't just sort of give you a summary of here are the documents, but this is a very natural way of saying this is the context of what we're talking about. And if you listen to what she just said and the documents I've added, that's actually pretty fair representation of what's going on. Let's sort of skip forward a little bit further into
combining premium black tea leaves with a selection of spices like cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, ginger, and black pepper. This mix not only creates a robust flavor, but also delivers significant health benefits.
Right, and I find it interesting how ingredients like ginger and cardamom are chosen for their digestives and anti-inflammatory properties.
Okay, so again, it's demo data, I get it, but you'll see what's happening is they're actually sort of talking through the substance. Now, again, in my real world scenario, think about using this for any kind of project or product development or anything you're doing at work. And I'd love to hear your examples and questions in the comments. Hit me with them. But when I used this to kind of recap what was going on with this customer engagement that I'd done a little while ago, this audio recap was actually something that occurred to me. If I needed to brief someone else internally on what I'd done, this would be the perfect way to do that. If I needed to get across something quickly that I'd been added to, let's say I've been added to a new project and a bunch of people have done a lot of work in depth, and it's a lot of information to get across. Honestly, one of the best uses of Copilot is to help you just get across all that, synthesize all that information, pull it together, understand it without the time-consuming work of having to go through it all from scratch. The audio file here is giving you a different way to do that. And for people who are better with audio learning rather than reading great chunks of text, and there are many people who find that, even for me, sometimes just the AI generated kind of summary is just too much. And it just kind of gives you that switch of being able to understand it in a different way. But I really think please try this on something real in your environment that you're working on, because the way that this audio summary, it's like a briefing document or like two people talking about it as if you were having a lunch and learn or something at work to cover it. I think, again, this is all quite new, so all this stuff will improve over time. Don't take it as it is and assume that's as good as it's ever going to be. But this stuff is really amazing for just pulling together and working on all of these things and getting across them quickly. Hit me with your thoughts, use cases, questions in the comments. I've got plenty more tutorials and tips and tricks on Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'll be tackling the researcher and the analyst agent as well. Stay tuned for all of that here. Thanks for watching.